Ugh. How you feeling?
Stressed.
Yeah, stressful as shit. What are your end thoughts on Martin?
I don't know if it's gonna work out. I want it to.
Yeah,
Kid's very talented.
that's how I feel. Yay, more meetings! Woo! We didn't get to talk to Larry and get him in. I didn't talk to Ilya either, but Ilya, like, actually is asleep.
Honestly, I was very surprised that he said that. I'd expect that from somebody outside of the crew that sees you as the leader, you know, because of course, you know, you're spearheading shit for the most part.
That's a spiteful thing to say that would come from someone like fucking OTT or something, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, Martin knew exactly what he's doing. He knows that I'm like that's the thing. He knows that I'm not the only leader. Like he knows that 100% is impossible for him not to know that unless he literally does not have a brain. He's been involved in every meeting we've had. Every single one he's been there. Me and Luciano both had about 5 separate conversations about what exactly this is, how exactly it works before he bought in. He was just saying that to say that. He really was. He knows he doesn't believe that.
Yeah, I brought up to Luciano the other day. You know, Luciano brought up a really good point, which was just, well, some people are just more so the face of something because they know them, they call them, or, you know, they have more business for them. That doesn't mean that anything internally is affected. And I was like, yeah, that's true. And that was it.
Yeah, but so
right?
who else believes this though?
Larry was one. I think Ilya actually said something. You know, he said I do see Luciano a lot, but it feels like, you know, a lot of people kind of, he didn't say answer to Lang, but, you know, like look to him for guidance. And I said, well, they do, but they look to each other for guidance on different things. And he went, yeah, you're right. And he didn't, you know, he didn't ask any other questions. He just went, yeah, that's it. And he went, yeah.
Looking for guidance is one thing.
Right.
Saying that one person is the leader is
yeah,
different.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it wouldn't shock me if Larry's saying this too, I'll be honest. It would not shock me at all.
Yeah. Can I just give my perspective as someone who's just kind of like, I sat there and just listened, you know, because I'm not a Don, and just kind of watched. From my perspective, I get where you're coming from, Lang, because you're a logical person, right? And you're just asking him direct questions, and you're saying, I want to know this, I want to know that. And he's feeling attacked when you do that, right? So you're just opposites on that, right? He feels attacked because of that, but then also he's not answering every direct question with a direct answer. He's answering it with something emotional and then not understanding when you are not getting that, because you've said it plainly. We don't do that, right? So I think the way you left it off with, look, you just need to like process this and understand what this is, I think makes sense. And I'm just hoping he's like getting what you're saying with that, which is just understand, you know, that this is the way the communication is.
His feeling makes sense if you accept that what he bought into or what he wanted to buy into, he did not buy into.
Right.
I think Martin bought into what we told him in hopes that it would be what he wanted, not what was actually said. You know, when we immediately bought him in, right? He wanted to do the second crew with Jean Paul, which is fine. I don't care. But, you know, that was kind of his way to try to bring Jean Paul in. He probably wanted to reunite all the people that he wanted to do things with, and probably saw this whole buy-in as a way to get in there and be able to try to pull that off. Now, very quickly realizing, though, that it's not being pulled off, and he probably hates what he's bought into. A lot of the things he says just doesn't make sense. Like the whole, oh, you didn't have my back when Rami shot me. He knows exactly what happened. Like me and him spoke on the phone about that exact situation. I'm pretty sure I even texted him like, are you good and shit? And then we both agreed, let's just resolve this.
I think one of the major disconnects for him is like he's sitting there and the stuff that bothered him emotionally, right? The stuff that frustrated him, he's voicing you. I think he just now heard it from you, right? That you were saying you were frustrated as fuck because you spent so much time on the phone with people discussing all of this. He's not realizing that it goes both ways because you don't complain about shit. Him not knowing this whole time how much time you spent sitting around answering phone calls, fixing stuff, made him think that you weren't doing it. And I don't know that it needs to be said plainly, but I think that's one of the big things in his head. And then you saying it now probably made that make a lot more sense because, you know, from what he was saying, it sounded like he just had no idea how much time he spent on the phone and what was being said. Really, the ones who know that are me and Luciano because we were there.
Jean Paul essentially raised them was to kind of think like that. Gang mentality, everybody gets out. We are together on everything. The crew has like some remnants of that, but it's not all it is.
I don't think this hierarchy system works for Martin. He's not clued into everything we do, and that's the way it was laid out to him from the start. It was going to be that way. That's probably the reason why he comes to you so much, Gigi, and you probably, you know, help fill that gap, but...
It sounded to me like he would want to bring the idea to you guys. Like, for example, he wanted to do something with Buttcoin. Didn't work out because the prices of Buttcoin were going down. People weren't buying it, you know, but when it was relevant, he wanted to juice his farm, sell it, maybe give us a portion of the profits and like kind of make that his work that he was doing for us, right?
That's what frustrates me so much. Is I don't need to give him bloody approval for that, right?
Guys,
Yeah,
so let's just call it as we see it. He came up with the idea. He came to me specifically, and me not being interested, he took it as a slight.
The whole thing is this guy is so lucky. I think he has a house with all these server racks and Bitcoin. He's opening up a goddamn casino. As the whole world as his oyster. Can be his own boss, run his own crew. Like, I agree with Lang here. I don't even know if there's even a problem that even needs to be gone over.
From my perspective, it doesn't look like there's a problem. I think there was when Jean-Paul was involved. He cut him out and he said, look, my decision is to cut him out. I told him, no, if you ever speak to me, it's business and there's nothing beyond that.
At first, he wanted to write out on him. I told Martin, let's chill. Let's think about like what we really do here. We agreed on, let's just resolve this. Now to go and kind of throw it back in my face and say, oh, I only did that because I think that's what you wanted. Like, that's just childish shit. We spent all day going back and forth on what we do. A lot of what we were saying just doesn't make sense. I would ask him, how did I disrespect you? He couldn't answer it. He would just be like very vague about it.
Yeah, I think the problem is like when you say that, I know what's going through his mind because he told me after, right? He's thinking to himself, well, I wanted to contribute this, but he should have immediately said that to you. And if he doesn't clarify that, then how are you going to know? If he's not necessarily voicing where the issue is, and then this builds up. He's fighting for it at first, and then he gives up so quickly the moment you just say no or no, we're good.
I can understand why backing out of the whole casino thing might affect him a little bit, but I'm a grown-ass man. I'm gonna do what I want. It's not that I hate the kid. I just don't want to be a part of the casino thing anymore. It's just how it goes. This whole situation with Jean-Paul showed me that I'm not gonna be pawned off problems.
Yeah, and that's what pissed me off. Like, I mean, I told all this to Martin's face, but now I don't know. We have an issue. After all that locomotion, basically come down to the Martin has an issue with Lang. It's dragged all of us here into it, and I'm not sure where now we go from here. That was not solved.
Natural. I think the same as he wants Lang's approval. I can do a sidebar, right? The next time I have to drag him around for something or go see him for anything and just try to get it out of him. Because maybe there's something he's just not saying. Because there's no way he just wants a hug, right? Like, there's no way it's just that. There's something that's missing for him. And if it's something that's easy and he just hasn't gotten to the bottom of it, that's great. If it's not, then, I want to figure that out so we just know sooner.
Well, that leads to even more miscommunication, right?
Not necessarily.
Well, I feel like it's part of the reason how we've got to this point is they keep coming to you, Gigi, and not to us to begin with, and it's kind of now it's snowballed into this.
Something I brought up earlier is every time he's come to me, it's because he went to someone else first, above me. He went to Adon, and then felt like there was either a miscommunication or he wasn't sure about something, or there was one time he even went to someone and they said, "That's a money thing. Talk to Gigi." Right. And then when I came back and said, "Oh, Marty thinks this," I was told like, maybe don't help him so much. And I was, you know what I mean? Like, I think me there have been times where it's like that.
I don't want you being the middleman personally. If we're gonna talk to this guy, we do what we did back there. And if it doesn't get solved, then I'm sorry, it doesn't get solved. I don't want to you go off for Martin and then hear this whole thing, you relay it back to us, and then
give a telephone.
Yeah. I don't think it achieves anything, Gigi, to be honest.
I know, and that's why I didn't sit there and vouch for him, or other than like clarifying two facts, right? I just sat there and let you guys talk it out. That was why I didn't say a word, right? Was to just kind of make sure that I'm not getting involved in that one.
If you wanted to say some stuff there, you could have, because we didn't kick you out of that meeting. You had every right to say what you wanted to say.
Yeah, but still, I feel like every time I go in and try to clarify something, it's, well, you're helping him out too much.
But either way, you should always just voice your opinion no matter what. Especially if you're a part of a meeting, just voice it. Like, listen, guys, doing that, right, Gigi, kind of justifies what Martin would try to say, or like we said earlier, right, or an outside perspective. Like, obviously, you're not a Don, but we value your opinion very highly. That's why you're involved in most of these conversations. Speak up, give your opinion. That is the point of multiple leaders and perspectives, so we can try to work through different angles and see what is really the best path.
I mean, hey, if we sit and we have another conversation, I'll do what I can. I'll speak up, because a lot of it is kind of what I said just before of explaining that like you Lang and Marty specifically, right, like not understanding each other. I see where the disconnects are, and I don't know if me standing there and saying that in front of both of you would help, though.
I don't think it would help, because I'm not the person Martin wants me to be, I think.
Yeah.
Listen, I used to be that guy, okay? I would sit and I would dissect and try to fix everything for hours upon hours. It's what I did all day, every fucking day, for everybody. I don't do that no more. What do we as Dons, okay, plus Gigi, what do we do now to resolve whatever the fuck this is?
I'm sure this will come back to one more conversation because he said he'll think on it, so he'll probably come back with what he thinks on it. If he feels resolved and says, you know, I still do want to work with the crew, then the offer from this side should be, okay, well, we need to clean slate this. Every meeting we have to walk away from it with a bullet point of that we're each doing.
I don't give a fuck what anybody's opinion is. If it's a system that we created, you know, the Dons voted yes, the treasurer, you know, helped create whatever, that's what it is. I don't want some guy to come and tell me, listen, this is what you should do instead. That's not how that works. I don't even care if it's the perfect system. And if he's absolutely correct, there's a hierarchy, right? If we decided on this, that is how it goes. I don't want somebody to call me and be like, no, we got to do it this way. It's like, motherfucker, you bought in, this is how it works.
He was concerned and said, I realized that people could snake you easily. So I don't know what was said to you guys. It sounded like it was a whole shit show, but yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not his place to be concerned for that. I get the gesture and the intention is good. I'm not saying that it's bad. It's just not his place to do it, period. And I'm telling you right now, it's the last time I deal with this shit regarding validation. I feel like it's the same lingering problem of validation and acceptance and all that shit. This is the last time I deal with it personally. Other than that, Gigi, good shit today. You are more valuable than I think you know. Please don't ever be, don't ever feel afraid to speak up. If you're not gonna be involved in the meeting, we're gonna let you know.
Okay.
You were there for a reason. You know what I mean?
No, I will. I will. Like I said, it wasn't really that I thought I couldn't, but just what sometimes me stepping in has been met with, so I wasn't sure. But yeah, no, I'll speak up for sure.
If we don't speak up and we feel like we need to speak up, we're gonna end up like where Martin's at right now. He didn't speak up over the whole Jean Paul shooting him shit, and now he's bottled it in, and there's resentment. That's the last thing we need between each other, you know?
I'm gonna be real with you. What you just said to me, that validation, I think that's what Marty needs, or what he wants. I don't need it. I think he's the type who actually needs it, or he will wither away and die.
The difference is you have a specific role to play here in the crew. Martin doesn't. Martin's on the same playing field as everybody else.
The difference is you. I'm just to be harsh. You are valuable. You are. There's no metric I can measure how much more valuable you are to me than Martin is. That's just the reality. Martin was bought in, and then it kind of never went anywhere from that.
I literally asked, well, what will Martin's role be? And Lang's answer was, well, he's going to mess around on computers. Like, that's the problem.
But guys, it's not even that. It's you show your value by working hard and not asking for thanks. Octo is a prime example of this. This guy had no value to me. Zero. I complain about him every fucking day. Now he's the most valuable guy that I got, and I would rather. I can't even put into words.
I think I fully understand,
how much he just understood it. He listened, he understood, and he turned it completely around. I'm never going to force it. If it comes natural, it comes natural. If I feel like I need to say something naturally, it'll come naturally. But I'm not going to force it on somebody because I feel bad I haven't validated that person for a week or some shit.
Right.
And
that only happens naturally by fucking working hard and doing your shit. Like that's how that works. Yeah, I mean that's another big thing as well. I hate this forced. You're my leader only. That's not what we're doing. I'm not doing that here, and we need to emphasize that with everybody. And if they see it that way, a bullet is put in their head, and they're put in the ocean. Guys, you guys might not ever see me again if the Lakers lose tonight. So, I like.
Oh shit! Best of luck.
Good luck.
All right. I understand. Like, I see some of you being like question marks. You're like, what is going on with like some of Lang's reactions? I think I very much so understand. This comes from me personally, out of character especially. As a person who has worked in big business many times for a long time, I fully understand Lang on this. I think this is really hard to empathize with if you haven't worked in big business and been in charge of a lot of people before many times for years. But something that has been proven to me time and again in working in business, you have to treat people like this, because when you go in and fix their problems in individual ways, you care about emotions too much, whatever, you can't do your job properly. You can't. It breaks down structure. It always breaks down structure. The big takeaway here for me is Lang has good business sense now and just understands more than he used to how much you can't do this or you're gonna go fucking crazy, because like he said, you spent so much time in like 3.0 being this person, hearing out people who are emotional, whatever. And again, I understand that because I've been there. It just ruins your life. Like, it ruins all of your time when you have to sit there and do this and you can't say something plainly and have it be understood. The moment people start not being able to take your words just as you're saying them plainly, and they need it to be said with a certain emotion, or you know, like other stuff needs to be played into it. When you're a leader and you're managing all these different people and you're trying to do your own shit, you just can't do that. Lang was everyone's dad by the end of 3.0, and he went and said, right, that's the thing, that's the pipeline. And I think a lot of you who watch 3.0 can understand that. And I don't think he should put that on himself again. So what Lang is trying to do is he's trying to hard avoid things being like that again. I think that's something that Marty would not be able to understand very well, like how bad that is to experience from someone like Lang's perspective, because he's not like someone who's been like a huge business runner for a long time and been everyone's dad. And you know, even if it's explained plainly to him, I don't think it's easy for him to get. I think it still needs to be re-explained to Marty. I know that the idea of that drives Lang crazy, like to have to explain something again. But I think Marty needs one more lay it out, like, hey, this is what we expect of you. Here's how you can contribute. If you can do that, you're doing great. And then when Marty does it, he gets the same treatment I do. The reason why some people, when Lang was like validating me, they were like, why doesn't he validate Marty like that? You know, when Marty has contributed, it's always been wrapped in a lot of conversation and everything, and it's been like so convoluted and muddled that you lose the initial point of what he's doing, right? The moment someone says, I don't want to do it how you want to do it, Marty gets very defeated. And the thing is, he hasn't done anything in a way that Lang could yet quantify to then turn to him and be like, you've been doing great. But Lang would do that to Marty. He would. He doesn't hate Marty. Marty's asking for the validation, but there's no way for Lang to quantify it, see it stacked up against other people and go, yeah, this is good.